Hiya, Anvil here. Just letting you guys know, quick disclaimer. I'm not reviewing both Titanfall games, although I am reviewing them. The first game is actually being reviewed first for the very first review video for this channel, of course. Also, I'm going to be uploading the part 2 video pretty soon, like somewhere in December, even though I said, like I said, I originally thought Destiny was going to be the first review, but I actually switched to Titanfall at the last minute. So, if you guys are willing enough to understand that fact, hopefully you guys enjoy the video, and I will see you soon for the Titanfall 2 review. Um, Obviously, it's Thanksgiving, and I just want to take this opportunity to actually thank you guys for such an amazing year. Even though 2016 is not over yet, my Twitch channel, and not to mention for you guys, you basically been around for quite a while, and I'm very grateful because of it. I sincerely thank you guys for everything that you've done for me, and especially during this whole ordeal that I've been going through. Um, so yeah, I tend not to be a little bit too sappy, or for the most part, just, I mean, I know this review is not going to do well, so, but I hope I basically give you guys a little bit of entertainment for at least a little bit. So anyways, hopefully you guys enjoy the video. I gotta be with my family, so I'll see you guys there. Peace. Anvil Presents. So I thought I'd be doing something a little bit different for this channel. No, it ain't gonna be another playthrough. Anvil Presents. Looking to my left here, gentleman looks kind of peeved. Maybe he wants me dead or something. I don't know. But hey, that's just me, right? Right. Anyways, I thought this would be an interesting detour from the usual playthroughs, and while they're not gone, they will be back in full swing in December. I thought this would be an interesting detour, and I've been playing for this for a little while. Alright! If you can't already guess, I'm terrible at playing videos. The planned Overwatch video for Halloween was canned because it was far past Halloween, the time that I initially recorded it. The finale of Plague of Shadows isn't ready yet, I still need to get footage, and I'm still trying to work out Sony Vegas 11. Yes, I know 14 is already out. I'm not Trump's millionaire to pay! Though that is kind of ironic now, considering that he's now in the White House, but just ignore that. And also, I'd like to make a formal apology. I've been mostly focusing on my Twitch channel for the past couple of days, so I have posted a few videos. I have since long forgotten about my passion for making videos.
Oh, hell no! You know what, hell!
Yeah, let's just put that aside from our memories for now. What I wanted to do for basically this video, and hopefully a continued series of videos, I basically showcase you my experience with games and basically how passionate I feel about gaming in general. I was around video games since I was a kid in 1995, and I figured that I basically talk about them in these, reviews and all that. So, I figured for my very first review, we take a look at the two Titanfall games, Titanfall 1 and Titanfall 2. What? Yeah, kind of a hefty task covering both of these games, let alone being my first review on the channel, but I was hesitant if I was looking at Destiny or Titanfall games. Originally I was considering Destiny, but considering the size of it? Yeah, take a look at the giant death robots and stimulant enhanced operators with their kunai trackers. Seriously, that should be a thing in the military. Radar knives. After settling the lawsuits surrounding both Activision and Infinity Ward's co-founders, Vince Zampella and Jason West, and alongside many other Infinity Ward employees at the time during Modern Warfare 2's development, Zampella and West, now under the name Respawn Entertainment, were conjuring up some ideas for their first multiplayer shooter, now going independent and receiving some assistance from Electronic Arts. These two companies worked together before with the Medal of Honor games, more famously Medal of Honor Allied Assault. And after that, they worked on something called Call of Duty under Activision until the lawsuit happened. Yeah, I should probably just stop talking about that. Titanfall was looking likely to be the best FPS of 2014 at the time. At E3 2013, it was unveiled, introducing double jumps, parkour, and giant mechs, garnering over 60 E3 awards. Okay, I know I'm a little late on this, but I always find this odd, the act of giving awards for a game when most games shown off at E3 that are still in development or just being shown off, a prize, just being interesting. Pre-award hype aside, the hype was building up to be this ultimate FPS of the year and the COD killer, because at the time, Call of Duty was still the popular FPS to go towards, even with Call of Duty Ghosts stunking up the joint. I got the game on the Xbox One 5 days after it came out. Granted, it's the only way to get the original at the time. The original game only released for the PC and later on an Xbox 360 port, which, come to think of it, that's where it was originally planned for before the Xbox One and PS4 were released. Starting up the game, you're greeted with the game's plot synopsis if you haven't done anything via stock footage from the 30s through 50s. Hammer Robotics, a major interplanetary corporation bent on creating the descendants of present-day exoskeletons known as the Titans, mechs that perform menial tasks of construction, farming, trying to trademark your fired, but that's a certain Titan that we won't talk about. These were given to certified pilots, whether it be for labor or most prestigious licenses of all, full combat. Across the frontier, the deep reaches of the universe, filled with many uncharted worlds and so on. However, the frontier's in a bit of a pickle, as two warring factions, the militia, a military arm on the territorial defense pact of the frontier, made up of mostly people who rebel, steal, and many mercenaries, and the Interstellar Manufacturing Corporation, or IMC for short, are bent on fighting each other, because the IMCs want for that green from manufacturing resources and many exploitative services. This led to the Titan Wars, and it's up to either faction that you are randomly put on to stop this war from reaching universal destruction. At least, that's what I can find out on the story through various outlets, because you wouldn't know why you're a part of this battle of corporate greed versus just don't screw up the world group unless you intensely pay attention to the lore and look up various stories. That's what I did, because I have no idea what the synopsis is supposed to be in-game, because it really doesn't tell you. But I'll try my best. During the war, both factions will encounter a guy named James McAllen, who used to be an ex-IMC executive officer under the command of Vice Admiral Marcus Graves, a part of the IMS Odyssey. These two you will most likely forget, because there really is no point on caring why these people hate each other or want to kill each other or have them captured, because really, what's the purpose? McAllen allegedly led a mutiny on the Odyssey, Graves wanted him arrested, James falls off the radar, and was then found by two characters who are basically your multiplayer announcers, go through a couple missions, find this Barker guy and where he's the most wanted man alive, possibly because of that smile of his, break into a couple of IMC bases, and then finally end the war at Demeter, in which McAllen says it has been an honor serving the militia and the base coast Gablui, even though you really have no connection with McAllen or Graves or any other character in the entire campaign. Now, naturally, that fight on Demeter should have been the last mission, right? Nope! Graves switches sides, goes and leads the militia to destroy an IMC factory building after McAllen and many soldiers on Demeter got blown to smithereens, causing IMC Sergeant Bliss to be the villain in the sequel. It's if I felt like that I skimmed through the campaign that quickly, and that's because it is. I went through one side of the campaign for 2 hours. The other is the same deal. However, it's also where you'll unlock the other chassis for the Titans, the Ogre, and the Strider. The only way you'll actually understand your mission is just by playing the game, which is exactly like multiplayer, except with extra bits of dialogue and describing the different names of the capturing facilities in the hardpoint missions. Other than those, there's attrition, which is just team deathmatch, but with AI-controlled grunts and specters. And speaking of two modes, let's get into a lot of Titanfall's mechanics and features. Firstly, there were 5 modes at launch: Attrition, Hardpoint, Last Titan Standing, which gives 1 Titan per round, round ends when all Titans are eliminated, Capture the Flag, just go around the base, try to capture theirs while preventing the other team from capturing your flag, and Pilot Hunter, kill all the pilots, but you can't kill them inside the Titans, and they don't add up to your score. But later on throughout the game's life cycle, free updates would be a thing because it given us modes like Mark for Death, where you have to hunt the Mark pilot before they hunt the other Mark pilot on your side. Deadly Ground, which is just what it is. It's lightning on the ground, avoid it, stay up top, don't get zapped. And Frontier Defense, this survival mode sort of thing. I don't know. I stopped playing this game after 6 months, which I'll get into more later on, and it'll be a hoot. Oh yeah, and there was also a very pointless season pass, considering the maps were given out for free later on. So basically, if you get the game, which is basically very cheap right now, out of curiosity's sake, you get the maps for free, whether or not you buy the season pass or not. Now, if you already played any other FPS, everything should be familiar to your experiences from the past FPSs you play. Shoot at the target, ADS every so often, hip fire at close quarter engagements, use an assortment of weapons at your disposal, level up and gain XP to unlock said weapons. It's just your standard FPS with one difference to it that makes it stand out, and that's the thrust packs. In Titanfall, you're able to double jump as well as wall ride from gunfight to gunfight. In addition, you also have your Titans, heavy mechs that wander about but can take quite a punch. They too also have a litany of utilities of their own, such as having an arc cannon that can sap through multiple enemies, a vortex shield that can disrupt enemy fire and can be propelled back towards the enemies, as well as electric smoke clouds, which is really useful because sometimes pilots can rodeo onto your Titan and expose his power supply in order to bring them further down to its doom. And yes, that's what the literal thing is, just doom. Just pop the smoke and then they sometimes get off, or they think they'll down you, but then the players get zapped in the end. Players can also add a anti-Titan weapon on their loadouts, as well as the usual grenades and perks, or in this case, kits. You can use a lock-on launcher, a rapid-fire missile launcher, magnetic grenades, and even a chargeable particle beam. You also have your ordnances, which is your explosives, and it's basically what you expect. Frag grenades, C4s, and not to mention mines. There is one in particular that affects Titans in a way, and those are arc grenades. Simply put, they're stun grenades, except they distort the visions of pilots, but most importantly Titan, which disrupts their HUD, not knowing where they are getting locked on by, or where is it coming from either Titans and pilot. My endearing interest from any sort of weapon is towards the Smart Pistol Mark V. Simply put, it's a lock-on pistol that aims for the head. That's all I could say. It's basically an auto-aim pistol. That is the best weapon I have ever heard in my entire life. But say that you don't want anything factory issued or doing any sort of grinding for attachments, because we'll get to that later. You can instead acquire burn cards. These range from either offering up bonus XP from killing enemies, yes, even the minions, longer lasting abilities replacing your other ones that you have equipped in your loadout, or outright permanently enhance your pilot with said ability, except you can also have another ability stack, or flat out just amp the weapons up, like the Craybar getting explosive shots, or the EVA shotgun being fully automatic. Not all weapons are useful though, like the plasma rifle for the Titan charges up for way too long, and even if you get a lucky shot, you notice the lack of power from the weapon even when fully amped up. Or the arc mine, sure they're good enough for a sniper or shooting at semi-automatic, but the mines don't offer any engagement except occasionally eliminating a wandering opponent or Titan. But the biggest hindrance towards Titanfall, besides some weapons being utterly useless and some burn cards being overpowered like Ghost Squad, is longevity. And what I mean by that is the lack thereof. This was a major turnoff for me, mostly due to the fact that I can appreciate lifespan of a set game, even if it isn't fantastic. I can still play it because there's always something to do, like collecting every Doom guy from the Doom remake, or Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare 2, where you still have to collect different forms of the heroes you play as. Titanfall? What do we got here? Only one LMG and one shotgun? The rest are ARs and snipers, especially that smart pistol, 3 sidearms, 4 anti-mech weapons. That's not a whole lot to try out. And if you want to talk about pilots not having enough in Titanfall, look at the Titans and the customization they offer us. 3 Titans varying in different times you boost in survival, and only 6 weapons. Half of which feel useless, along with insignias on Titans, which is barely visible, and who even bothered with putting them on to begin with. Now, the game has the usual challenges, which is something extra to do, and obviously, they're just challenges. There's something as simple as killing a bunch of grunts, pilots, titans, or getting kills with certain weapons on said pilots and titans, or something as ludicrous as killing a pilot while boarding a titan. But oddly enough, you need to complete these challenges in order to get attachments. Like something as simple as extended mags or reticle, you need to kill a certain amount of enemies. Some of these attachments can offer different bonuses and unique effects, such as the Hemlock burst rifle becoming a 5 burst instead of a 3 burst, or the minefield attachment for the triple threat, which sticks on the walls and the ground for unsuspecting players and AI. But you need to kill titans or pilots in order to get those attachments. You have to complete the challenges in order to use them, but that's not a bad thing. Some people love that type of progression. Modern Warfare had unlockable attachments by simply getting headshots or by slowly eliminating the player. However, once you got all your attachments for your weapons and you leveled up to the maximum limit, you could just call it a day, it wasn't all that great, but hey, it was something, I guess. It was a good distraction. Or you could decide to regenerate your pilot. To put it bluntly, this is prestiging Call of Duty, but in Titanfall. Except you don't just go to a simple menu and increase your rank. No, instead you have to complete the challenges, which are very necessary, which are very blatantly in your face in order to be promoted to the next tier. I only regen once during my original playthrough, and while I was getting footage, after the second regen, there was something. Your pilot will reboot its own systems. It'll take a while, but trust me, it's a little bit weird, but just go with it. And after all that rebooting, after all that grinding, after all the stinking crap that you had to deal with, what happens? You go back to the menu, and you realize you have a chip right next to your name. Look, I don't want to say I hate Titanfall. I mean, for what it offers, it was a good distraction. I'm just saying that longevity in this game just feels lacking, and the story that we have is just embarrassingly just short. Like, again, you can complete this in 2 hours, which isn't really a good thing, especially for a campaign that's tied to a multiplayer. And even then, that's basically a problem there. Like, this is the same people that gave us some of the greatest campaigns in Call of Duty history. And seeing this as their new first project, with all that experience behind them, that's kind of disappointing. Even still, I enjoyed Titanfall for what it was. The original Titanfall was way too overhyped. It didn't need this much push from the former Call of Duty developers. Not by a long shot. This should have been just a nice little FPS with a unique idea. Let's give it that much. Not this overhyped COD killer type game that's gonna stop Call of Duty from producing more games. And that's not it for Titanfall. Oh no. Last month, and very recently in fact, we actually got the sequel, Titanfall 2, to look at.
So, I don't know how long it's going to take me to finish this review. I'm pretty sure it's going to be a lot shorter, though then again, there is a single player campaign that I need to focus on, and not to mention so many changes to the multiplayer, which I need to focus on, honestly, because right now I'm already recording footage of that. But hopefully you guys stay tuned for that review, and yeah. So what do you guys think of this review? I'm pretty sure I'm going to post some outtakes here, but yeah. Anyways, if you guys enjoyed this, hopefully you guys had a good time, we had a good laugh. Well, not really a laugh, but informative laugh. And I will see you all for the Titanfall 2 review. Have a good one.
Otherwise, you'll probably regret that decision. That's what I just felt like. Oh, come on. Ooh! Oh man, you're getting no scope.
Surprise, motherfucker!
Seriously! Be careful what you put in your games. Otherwise, it's gonna instill happiness, rage, and not to mention outright stupidity. That's all I can say about this. Go! I was about to